Hey Lions fans, this is the Overthinker and welcome back to the channel. A really tough loss there, 30-13 versus a Kansas City team that we all kind of knew was starting to play better. They did have kind of a rough start there, but as I said in my video, they were playing a lot better lately. I guess you could say this game mostly went the way I thought it would in terms of a game plan for the Lions. It was definitely a lot of running the ball in play action and running time off of the clock, trying not to give the ball to the Chiefs too many times. The goal was to try and get a few stops on defense, and that could potentially win you the game, right? Now, we did get one fourth down stop versus the Chiefs, and they did punt one time, but unfortunately, we punt twice, and the Chiefs got us on a fourth down stop as well. And when you combine that with a goal line call for the Lions, where we had a touchdown that got taken off the board, they basically congregated about this for quite a while. I felt they were talking about the legality of what happened. It was like, okay, I guess you can't have a quarterback going in motion straight from the center. They have to pause in the backfield and then go, I guess. And yeah, that's just a really weird one for me. I have no idea. I've just never seen a play like this before where the running back's going to take a direct snap and throw it to the quarterback. So I really don't know anything about that rule. And I have watched a lot of football and I've never really seen what the Lions were trying to do. I have seen plays like in college football where maybe you have two quarterbacks on the field and one of them's kind of a better runner and they go out for a pass. I've seen that. Okay, but not what the Lions just tried to do. So yeah, I can't realistically say whether that was against the rules or not, or whether they made it up. Obviously, it seems like it's a real rule. If you look on X, on Twitter, there are people, who talk about this stuff all the time, and seems to be like this is definitely a rule. You cannot just motion straight from the backfield out to a wide receiver position. You have to take a pause. So yeah, that is a pretty unfortunate way to start out the game, obviously, for the Lions, having to take a field goal there. But yeah, following drive, the Chiefs are able to score with a short pass to Xavier Worthy, kind of a pick play. It was a legal pick play. You can run a pick within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, and that's what they did there. Basically, it's almost like you're blocking the defensive back with another receiver. And yeah, that's pretty much legal as long as it's close to the line of scrimmage, and that's pretty much what we had there. But the Chiefs missed the extra point, and then the Lions were able to respond with a touchdown drive of their own, getting it out to Jameson Williams, 22-yarder there on kind of a mesh play. Jared Goff makes a really nice pass there versus the zone coverage right past the linebacker. And yeah, that was a really nice throw there, and Jameson catches the ball, runs away from a couple defenders, gets in the end zone for a nice touchdown. And then the following drive for the Chiefs, we had a huge Aiden Hutchinson sack fumble that almost turned the tides in this game. This is one of those plays that definitely, if it had gone the other way, we totally could have won this game. But somehow Mahomes is able to grab the ball as he's falling down. The fumble basically bounces right to where he can grab it. And yeah, that is just an incredibly lucky bounce from the ball there for the Chiefs. And yeah, that could have been, that play could have been a touchdown if it bounced the right way for the Lions. So, and yeah, a couple plays later, we had the fourth down stop by Thomas Harper, who came in the game for Kirby Joseph. Really nice play here, working on Xavier Worthy, who was kind of coming across the field from the slot on like an over route, and he picks him up coming from depth, kind of picks him up on the crossing route and makes a nice play, deflecting the pass, no pass interference. That was a really nice play from Thomas Harper. And that was one of the first times I've seen him play, so that was nice to see him make a nice play on the ball. But unfortunately, following getting a fourth down stop for the Lions, we have a fourth down of our own where we cannot convert. It was St. Brown trying to catch the ball kind of around his knees. It was a quick pass from Jared Goff, who was under very fast pressure. I think this was Chris Jones again. He was an absolute game wrecker today. He really is just one of the best players in the NFL, and as an interior defensive lineman, he's not somebody you can really block one-on-one. So anytime you have an obvious passing down, that's going to be tough. And following those back-to-back fourth down stops, the Chiefs get the ball back with less than 3 minutes remaining in the first half. They go down and score a touchdown. It was Mahomes this time on a keeper, kind of an option play, almost like a trick play, but it was out of under center from the goal line. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Then the Lions trying to get something going there only had, I think, 37 seconds when they got the ball back. They did have one timeout, but they weren't able to get anything, having to punt just right before halftime. And then coming out of half, the Chiefs are able to work their way down the field, milking that clock and scoring a touchdown. And then the Lions after that had a punt. This was the drive where the Lions kind of had a play where they were coming out of the huddle quickly trying to catch the Chiefs with, I think they were trying to catch them substituting or something, but somehow they lost track of where Jameson Williams was on the field, and pretty much he was uncovered on the play, and it was just like a free first down, but the Lions had to punt after that, unfortunately. And after the Lions have to punt it there, they actually hold the Chiefs, and the Chiefs wind up punting the ball. And then when the Lions get the ball back, that's when you had the insane catch by Sam Laporta in the back of the end zone. This was like a one-handed catch where the defender was like all over him. He had his shoulder like in a knot. It was crazy. I don't know how he caught this. And yeah, a really impressive catch there by Sam Laporta in a very important drive there to try and go take this game back. And it really felt like the Lions were maybe going to pull this one off. But then the Chiefs were able to go down the field and score again. Hollywood Brown again scoring his second touchdown of the second half here, putting this game back to 10 points. And then after this, the Lions had a critical 3-and-out when they had to punt the ball again. And this was probably the last realistic chance the Lions had to get a stop. I mean, there wasn't a lot of time left in this game, but we had to punt the ball with I think 7 or 6 minutes remaining. And yeah, that's just really tough having to punt the ball with 7 minutes remaining down 10. And yeah, that's really just not what you want to do versus the Chiefs. And then the Chiefs go ahead with a 10-play drive, converting 2 critical third downs where we could have gotten the ball back and kicking a field goal there to make it 30-17 basically. So it was a pretty close game there in the fourth quarter. It's just the Lions were not really able to get a stop in the fourth quarter, basically. They weren't able to get the ball back, and we had to punt the ball in the fourth quarter. You know, it was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. We definitely had a chance. We did not lose the game because the first drive did not end in a touchdown. I mean, that was a really weird rule, and it's one that I was actually surprised that they called it because it was like a touchdown, and then they threw a flag 30 seconds later, maybe. It was a weird one, you know. It felt like the play was going to stand, and then the refs were kind of talking about it for quite a while before they decided to throw the flag. And it was pretty funny. The announcers were basically saying that they don't have the ability to throw the flag because it's already after the play, and then they did it. So yeah, I felt like that was kind of hilarious. I feel like NFL refs kind of just do whatever they want at times, even if it's technically not allowed. But yeah, I guess that's just what happens when you play the Chiefs, though. You cannot rely on the referees to help you out at all, pretty much. We also had a pretty big pass interference call on Rock Ya-Sin, working on Travis Kelce on the right sideline. That one I felt like was probably pass interference, but Travis Kelce was also pushing off on that play. It felt like they were kind of fighting back and forth, running up the right sideline. But Rock Ya-Sin did have his arm on the shoulder of Travis Kelce as he was trying to get by, so it is probably technically pass interference. So I don't really feel like the Lions got absolutely jobbed by the referees, but I also feel like that play on the goal line probably doesn't get called if it was the Chiefs on offense. So yeah, I guess it is fair to be upset, but I don't really think that's why we lost the game. And also after the game, you had Brian Branch throwing this punch, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get suspended for this at least one game. This is not something you can do, and that is the type of thing that is typically going to lead to a suspension, at least a one-game suspension, and probably a pretty hefty fine, I would guess. But yeah, not what you want to see there, obviously. This was a pretty solid game overall. We just didn't make a couple plays there in the fourth quarter, especially when we really needed a stop, and we also had a punt there in the fourth quarter critically, and I really think that's why we lost this game. Man, it was a really close one. Obviously, go Lions. We hope we keep winning, but sometimes you don't win. It doesn't mean the season's over, obviously. We fall to 4-2, though. Hopefully, looking ahead, we can keep winning and get this streak going again. But yeah, we have a big game versus the Buccaneers next Monday. I will not be live for that, but we will catch you. It would be, I think, Tuesday morning. I'll make that video after work, and we will see how that game goes versus the Buccaneers. We will catch you in the next video, though. Thanks for watching, and go Lions.